Greetings, everyone. This is part 3 segment of the Divine Heart Principle Introduction through video recording. So please, I hope that you've already been able to catch up with segment 1 and 2. And this is part 3, continuation. Okay, please bear with me. Okay. All right. Continuing. During their course in the 20th century, up to the worldwide cosmic level restoration, Father and Mother had to step by step fulfill each foundation, starting from the true individual, true family, true clan, true nation, true worldwide foundations, and culminating in the true cosmic level foundation in successive order, with an allocated time frame for each foundation. Without question, before embarking on their course in earnest, they had to recover Heavenly Parents' absolute ideology of the Divine Heart Principle, without which the proper step-by-step restoration process could not be substantiated for any of the foundations. Ideally, after the recovery of Heavenly Parents' Heart Principle, given that at the core of his and her purpose of creation is the sum value of the whole creation in each human being, the realization of the true individual foundation should have been the reestablishment of men and women's equal human value and responsibility that had become unbalanced due to Adam and Eve's differing sinful status, with Adam's single sin and Eve's double sin on the individual level, which compromised respective mankind and womankind in dissimilar ways on the collective level. If Father and Mother had been able to restore the true individual foundation of man and woman's equal human value and responsibility, the next step in the restoration process would have been the creation of the true family foundation of recovering equal human value, starting with their first child position, as it is not the responsibility of Heavenly Parent, but that of the human parents to impart equal human value and responsibility to each of their children, regardless of sex and gender, by way of their true ideal examples of human perfection. This was precisely at the core of Adam and Eve's failures to achieve individual perfection before endeavoring together as true spouses to each other and creating a true family on the collective level, with the creation of ideal true children in humanity to come through them by way of their own heart principle, true love, exemplary deeds. However, after Adam and Eve's parental failures, since they created Cain and Abel unequal position, the first child position for the true family foundation necessitated the first of the Cain and Abel position children. First Abel position children were Father and Mother's direct first daughter and first son. But the first Cain position children became further divided into internal and external Cain position children, since Father Moon had married his first wife, who adapted the Cain position to Mother Moon's Abel position wife status. So the first internal Cain position child was Father Moon's first wife's son, and the first external children were Father and Mother's spiritual children, or the 36 couples. If the above steps of the recovery of Heavenly Parents' Heart Principle, achievements of the true individual foundation and true family foundation had been successfully established, the next step would have been the true clan foundation, which is the unification movement, as it had to be the place where the multiplication of true families or blessed families occurs before multiplying further in the rest of humanity outside the movement. This level of the foundation is also where Father and Mother's other children, beside the first, would have been included. In other words, without the recovery of the heart principle, true individual, true family, and true clan foundations firmly in place, true nation, true worldwide, and true cosmic level foundations could never be achieved. This is because the step-by-step restoration process at the time of the worldwide cosmic level restoration is fundamentally about the ever-increasing multiplication of greater numbers of perfected human beings. So when Heavenly Parents' Heart Principle, which clearly defines true and false, good and evil, moral and ethical standard, of human value and responsibility is not firmly rooted as the basis of human restoration, one will never succeed in any of the step-by-step foundations, requiring a greater number of perfected human beings in each step of the way. Regarding the True Nation Foundation, there were two sides to the national level restoration, internal and external. The internal side of restoration had to focus on Germany, the Adam position nation, during the 2,000 years of Christian indemnity history, linking the incomplete Jesus and his bride's third try first attempt course to that of the third try second attempt, and on Korea, the Adam position nation, for the third try second attempt course. After World War II, Germany, representing the West, and Korea, representing the East, were conditionally divided into East and West and North and South zones within each nation, together signifying the four directions of the physical world. Each nation also had to be ideologically divided into two sides with two opposing worldwide ideologies, communism by socialism and democracy. Since the incipient point of Cain and Abel position, the enmity and disunity ultimately returns to Adam and Eve's human fall, with their loss of heavenly parents' absolute heart principle and their consequent parental failures to aid both Cain and Abel to realize their portion of responsibility, Germany and Korea, both in the inheritor position from the previous Adam position nation of Israel, had to be conditionally divided into Cain and Abel positions with equally divided respective ideologies of communism and democracy at that time. Once Germany and Korea became divided into East and West and North and South with respective communism and democracy, it was father and mother's providential responsibility first to recover the absolute heart principle, and with it, step by step, establish the true individual, true family, true clan foundations before reaching out and teaching the people of Germany and Korea with Heavenly Parents' absolute heart principle, bridging the ideological gap between the two divided ideologies, dividing each nation. This would have sufficed for the internal side of the True Nation Foundation, centered on Germany and Korea, two Adam position nations, the former representing the 2,000 years of Christian indemnity history, handing over the next Adam position nation status to the latter for the third try second attempt course in Heart Principle, True Love, Unity. For the external side of the True Nation Foundation, there had to be a locational change from the previous worldwide cosmic level course at the time of the third try first attempt, or Jesus, his bride, and their prospective family. Thus, instead of the nations of Israel, Egypt, and the Roman Empire as the respective Adam, Eve, and the Archangel position nations, at the time of Jesus and his bride's third try first attempt course, and Germany, Britain, and France for the respective Adam, Eve, and the Archangel position nations during the 2,000 years of indemnity history centered in Europe, linking the third try first attempt to the third try second attempt, Korea, Japan, and the US were selected for the respective Adam, Eve, and the Archangel position nations for the third try second attempt course in the 20th century. With Korea and Japan, or respective Adam and Eve position nations representing the East, the US was raised as the heir to the West, or Western, intellectual and cultural tradition by way of its connection to Europe, and Britain in particular, as it was separated or born from Britain that had undertaken the Eve position nation during the 2,000 years of Christian indemnity history. The central figures born in Korea had to first recover the heart principle and begin educating the people of Korea, the Adam position nation, about it. Then they had to extend their ministry to Japan, the Eve position nation. Afterward, they had to expand their ministry to other nations, including Germany and the US. Since the US was prepared as the Archangel position nation at the time of the third try second attempt course, and from where they had to win the ideological victory before reaching out to the worldwide people. As stated, the Archangel Lucifer proposed the unprincipled ideology that not only initiated the human fall through Adam and Eve, but also made possible further proliferation of unprincipled ideologies in fallen reality thereafter. As such, at the time of the worldwide cosmic level course, the ideological victory based upon Heavenly Parents' absolute heart principle has to be won by the central figures in the Archangel position nation representing humanity as an indemnity condition to conditionally reclaim what was lost as a consequence of the Archangel's unprincipled ideology that had dominated and multiplied in all variations in fallen human reality. For this reason, Heavenly Parent raised the U.S. as a newly created empire-sized nation, gathering people from all over the world and bringing together various ideological issues related to internal and external knowledge of human reality ever since the human fall. The U.S., as the Archangel position nation under the banner of democracy, was to be a place where numerous ideological issues concerning the human condition, whether or not they were close to heart principle, were freely and energetically debated in public forums as part of the preparation for the third try second attempt course. The reason for this was that since the third try second attempt course was once again at the level of expectation for the worldwide cosmic level or complete restoration, all the variety of proliferated ideas and ideologies of varying degrees, either closer to the heart principle or to the other end of the unprincipled direction that humanity had been engrossed in, had to initially surface for public awareness and scrutiny. This was a necessary preparation with the expectation that the central figures of father and mother, their family, and the movement, having recovered Heavenly Parents' heart principle, would bring to the public forum in the U.S. all the relevant answers based on the heart principle to the questions that humanity has been asking throughout the fallen history. If this had transpired, it would have been a secure stepping stone toward worldwide ideological unity, separating the unprincipled from the heart principle element in the explication of the restoration history since the human fall. Had this been accomplished, it would have opened heart-principled true love discussions on Heavenly Parents' purpose of creation, the import of human value and responsibility as the center of the whole creation, and why restoration history, which is not Heavenly Parents' 100% making, but that of the 5% free-willed human portion, has led humanity in the unprincipled direction of continuous suffering and prolongation of overall discontentment and unending misery thus far. If the above ideological restoration process of both the internal and external sides involving the nations of Germany, Korea, Japan, and the US had been successfully achieved during the designated time frame for the True Nation Foundation, it would have symbolized the beginning point of ideological unity between the East, represented by Korea and Japan, and the West, represented by Germany and the US, which had espoused these similar courses of internal and external knowledge changes during restoration history. In this way, the foundational stage would have been established for true worldwide ideological unity to reach people worldwide, centered on Heavenly Parents' absolute heart principle. For the true worldwide foundation, the central figures of father and mother, their family, and the movement had to achieve a worldwide ideological victory centered on the heart principle. As part of the preparation based on divided Cain and Abel positions made by the human portion, Heavenly Parent had no choice but to allow two contending worldwide ideologies, democracy and communism by socialism, each championed by respective two empire-sized nations, the US and the USSR or the Soviet Union, to dominate the global stage after World War II. These two ideologies, represented by the US and the Soviet Union, had to wait in their divided state called the period of the Cold War during the 20th century, until father and mother, their family, and the movement could succeed in each of the foundations. True Individual Foundation from 1946 to 1966, True Family Foundation from 1961 to 1981, True Clan Foundation from 1946 to 1988, True Nation Foundation from 1946 to 1985, leading up to the True Worldwide Foundation from 1989 to 2000. By the way, with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, even though some people thought that the Cold War had ended and communism had somehow died out, it is not so simple. The Cold War between two empire-sized nations, each espousing democracy and communism, was part of the Cain-enabled positional preparation for the human portion. It meant that father and mother and their movement foundation had to successfully create Cain-enabled positioned heart principle true love unity centered on Heavenly Parents' heart principle in each phase of their step-by-step restoration mission, always coinciding with the providential timing for each foundation. They ultimately had to reach the worldwide foundation of ideological unity centered on Heavenly Parents' heart principle, thereby inviting Heavenly Parent into humanity's midst. However, even though father and mother did not properly fulfill their step-by-step mission, there was one last chance for an extension course through their first child or first daughter's lineage. So since the previous stage set up for the time periods for the True Nation Foundation from 1946 to 1985 and the True Worldwide Foundations for the second attempt in the 20th century, which would have begun in 1989 until 2000 period, could not be realized, the Cain position side or communism of the two contending worldwide ideologies of democracy and communism, and the Cain position side of the Soviet Union of two empire-sized nations between the US and the Soviet Union initially had to come down. The reason for the Cain position came down was that even though father and mother did not deliver their mission on time, since their first child lineage extension had still sustained their lineages as able position humanity's internal lineage for the third attempt multi-generational course to come, the Cain position between the two positions had to come down conditionally. Parenthetically, why North Korea did not come down is a separate issue. Again, the above in no way meant that father and mother had won the worldwide ideological victory during the designated time frame. It was only because the time for another attempt at worldwide ideological unity centered on Heavenly Parents' heart principle had been delayed, and all the worldwide stage set up for the 20th century, so to speak, had to come down initially for that time, since it had not been achieved. Currently, in the third attempt course, the opposing ideologies between the two empire-sized nations persist, with an additional empire-sized nation, China, from the east, on the worldwide stage, espousing communism under an authoritarian regime exists. Now, how the next true worldwide foundation at the level of the worldwide stage will be set up for the third attempt multi-generational course will depend on whether the people of the movement and their lineages fulfill their human portion of the responsibility. If father and mother, or the central figures for the second attempt course, had been able to restore the true individual, true family, true clan, true nation, and true worldwide foundations by the end of the 20th century, the true cosmic foundation concerning how human beings could become true stewards of both spirit world and physical world would have commenced with the start of the 21st century. The human portion of responsibility in becoming true stewards of the physical world includes preserving the physical environment where human beings must strive for human perfection. This issue was all the more exigent due to the incredible growth in scientific, industrial, and technological advances, which have significantly strained the physical environment since the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century in anticipation of the third second attempt worldwide cosmic level course in the 20th century. For Heavenly Parents' 95% limited portion, Heavenly Parent had to permit humanity to advance in external, primarily scientific knowledge as a part of the preparation. However, it is not Heavenly Parent's portion to teach fallen humanity the heart principle, including how to be true stewards to the rest of the creation, but that of the central figures at the time of the worldwide cosmic level course, acting on behalf of Adam and Eve. As such, humanity has not yet learned that having external knowledge does not mean one can use it indiscriminately without constantly gauging whether their free will choice will yield heart-principled or unprincipled results befitting human responsibility in relation to the rest of the creation. Given this incomplete reality, it would have been one of the urgent tasks of Father and Mother as the central figures at the time of the third second attempt course that as soon as they recover the heart principle, they should have been teaching humanity about the human portion of responsibility in regards to the third blessing, and in particular about the critical importance to maintain the balance and harmony of the physical world Heavenly Parent initiated without wreaking havoc on the overall stability of the physical system with human abuse and excess. If this had been done, it would have greatly mitigated the worrisome patterns of climate change that we are currently experiencing. Through human fall, the lowering of human value and responsibility, and the consequent loss of spiritual senses while in the physical world, humanity also lost true stewardship over the spirit world. Given this, the reclamation of human beings' true stewardship over the spirit world can only begin with a full recovery of our lost spiritual senses in the physical world. This is because at the time of the human fall, humanity collectively fell below the low creations and came to conditionally imitate the physical-only creations without spiritual selves and spiritual senses. As a result, Heavenly Parent had no choice but to block our spiritual senses while we reside in the physical world. Hence, the full recovery of our lost spiritual senses would be the way for human beings to reclaim our true stewardship position over other creations, both in the spirit world and physical world. As we must maintain our central position in the cosmic four-person foundation, co-creating with Heavenly Parent as His and her true children. The total recovery of our lost spiritual senses would mean not only the opening up of the spirit world to the physical world with human beings as mediators between them, but also for the ascended spiritual selves of human beings to gain the direct opportunity to communicate and work with people in the physical world to atone for their unrestored sinful indemnity conditions. This will significantly accelerate and enhance the spirit people's restoration process like never before. This is the end of the segment 3. Thank you very much. See you soon.